we know the gaming industry isn't going anywhere. We know people love gaming, and people got more time to game now than they've ever had before. And the work week's getting shorter in the Western world, and it's more time to game. So we know that games aren't going away. It's going to now be a question of, who's going to be the first company to really master how crypto fits into it. Yeah, and, like I look at my World of Warcraft days, I put 5 years, probably about 12 hours a day into it for 5 years. And I walked away with nothing. I literally, at the end of that enormous, and I'm talking enormous amount of time, it nearly cost me a marriage, to be totally honest.
Yeah, sure.
And I walked away with nothing. Had I had all NFTs, I could have probably got out of there with, $20,000 or $30,000.
Yeah, we used to sell our accounts. We even sold our Ultimate Online accounts back in the day. You could sell your accounts with heaps of gear and stuff back then. It was the only way to do it. We did that. I think my brother sold his account and my account, and he got a few $100 for each one. That was a big deal back then.
Yeah. Well, it's going to get much nicer than that when you find something rare in a game, and
oh, how exciting!
There's going to be a 14-year-old child somewhere in the world finds a legendary sword, and he'll go to his father and say, "I think I've just found something expensive," and the father will look it up online, and he'll go, "You've just found a $50,000 sword, son." It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be really good fun.
Daniel, obviously, it's great to have you on board, and was just interested to hear in your own words where you saw the opportunity for Playable Games and what you see in the future potential.
Yeah, look, that's a good question. The reason for my involvement is that, this is the new frontier as far as I'm concerned. I think it's an exciting new world that video games are entering. There's a lot of myth and confusion and excitement around cryptocurrencies, and that's all understandable. But I think there's no denying that it's the way of the future, and the way that it marries with video games works well. It's going to work well, and I'm excited to see a real revolution in people owning their assets in video games going forward.
Can you give us a bit of insight and a bit of an understanding of your background in terms of gaming?
It's a bit dangerous because talking about myself is one of my favorite subjects. So, bear with me, because I really fell in love with video games when I was like 6 years old, when my parents convinced Santa Claus to buy me a Commodore VIC-20. I had that for a few years, and I taught myself programming because we only had about 3 or 4 games to play. So after we played them on our tape deck, is how you loaded them, I taught myself programming. I later got a Commodore 64 and a Commodore Amiga, and I got my first PC, I think, when I was about 12 or 13. I knew pretty early on that I wanted to make video games. I love telling stories. I love making graphics. I taught myself to be a programmer until I went to college, where I learned properly how to be a programmer. I was releasing my own kind of shareware titles by the end of high school. Literally selling floppy disks to kids in the schoolyard and at the market and things like that. So I was there right from the start. Before CD-ROMs, before mobile phones, in the 8-bit days. I saw the 16-bit days, the 32-bit days. Obviously, we're in the 64-bit days now. Soon to probably become the 128-bit days before too long. When computers had just a few kilobytes of RAM instead of like 16 gigabytes of RAM. So, I've been making games for myself and for other companies. I worked at Melbourne House for a bunch of years, an Australian institute where basically a lot of the Aussie studios spawned from. I worked at Taurus Games doing Aussie titles like Dick Johnston's V8 Challenge. And then I founded Wicked Witch just on 20 years ago. We love making our own games. We love fantasy. We love RPGs. We love sci-fi games. We found ourselves doing a lot of sports games as well. We worked with the AFL. We worked with the NRL. And we did a lot of contracts for, companies like Mattel and licensing Warhammer and, having lots of fun with cool brands like that. But we also made our own games from the ground up. We did all the code, all the artwork, all the QA. We built all the technology. We built our own computers. built our own photogrammetry rigs to scan real world objects and real people. Went to locations all around the world, photographing, building digital stadiums, building digital landscapes and environments. So you name it, and I've probably done it. And I myself, I've had all those roles, everything from programmer to producer to art director to QA manager to audio engineer. Never been afraid to get my hands dirty and get hands-on because I just love making video games.
I think you answered my next question was, why do they call you knowledgeable?
Why do they call me knowledgeable? Because I like to think I know everything. Happy to be proven wrong. Happy to be proven wrong. But chances are I've probably done it before. That's
good.
So what when you think about what you've achieved, obviously you've just sold Wicked Witch and you know, for as far as the world is concerned, you've achieved the greatest glory of being able to not only build up a company but sell it for actually a profit, which is very unusual, especially in the gaming industry. What would you say is your favorite game you've built?
That's good. That's a good question. I'm proud of quite a few titles that we did. I was especially proud of Catapult King because we built that with only like a real short brief. We only had like a 2-page brief that we gave ourselves. And it was pretty well to make, like, because we all loved Angry Birds. And so we were like, let's make an Angry Birds game, but let's make it in 3D using our own game engine. And let's just see how good we can make it on. It was our first iPhone game on the iPhone. Let's really push the hardware of the iPhone. And that game was like 17 megabytes in size in its entirety. We compressed the hell out of it, and it kind of at the time it kind of blew the competition away. It still runs on like really old handsets as well as really high-end 4K Retina display handsets.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it does, and it was just fun, right from the first prototype for it. It just had that secret sauce. There was something about it that
2,000 new downloads coming in for Catapult King in the next hour.
That's right.
I'm going to play that.
That game will probably be like 8 or 9 years old now, I would say, maybe even more, about that. But it still gets downloaded. It won some awards from Apple and things like that. So pretty proud of that one, I would say. The AFL games, I'm proud of them in a different way. They were like really tight budgets and tight timelines, and we basically had to make Australia's FIFA on about 2% of the budget.
Well, we should actually explain there. AFL is our National Football League, and your company,
Australian football. Yes, that's right.
So your company was chosen to actually make that game, and
we did the franchise. That's right. We did the franchise on mobile, on Game Boy Advance, on 3DS, on PlayStation Portable, on the Wii, we did it, Nintendo Wii, and then PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X. We've made those games. I won't explain the sport because it's very difficult to explain.
No, they don't get it.
Kind of mix. It's a mix between hockey and rugby and American football. Something in between all of those.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Somebody has just asked, do we have an MMORPG on the table at all? And I mean, I can actually answer that. We don't at the moment, and we're not really looking to get one or build one because A, they take years to build properly, and B, they cost anywhere in the like tens of millions realm.
Well, they start, they start very expensive, and they get, so obviously we're announcing in this that we've purchased Reven, so which is spelled REVN. Yep. So Daniel, you weren't actually involved in the purchase of that. That's happened before you actually joined us, but you've obviously had a brief look at what we've got at the moment, and just some basic overview. What's your feedback?
Well, look, it's a great genre, right?
Well, we're going to show some footage of it shortly. So
yeah, it's like it's like second person. You're like behind the camera's like here. It's not here.
You can still snipe. Can you snipe?
Yes, it goes into.
Yeah, that's important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. It's very unique. It's very fun. As always, there are a few things that we think need to be updated and changed.
I think what we'll do is we'll pull up we'll drop in here. Let's have a look at the actual Reven footage, and we'll watch that. So let's go and do that now. I was talking to one of the team members from Ambitious the other day, and I was sharing with them some of the feedback the boys had about the game, and they were very quick to say, oh yeah, no, I mean, if we had money, that stuff would have already been in, but we haven't been able to do it because we don't have the money, and that's just makes it really hard. So that's the one thing that Playable is going to be able to bring is, I mean, Dan and I have already talked about, like, you know, there's audio stuff that needs to be done with the game, there's UI stuff that needs to be done, and Daniel's got contacts there that we can immediately help their team straight away. And the beautiful thing about the modern world is we can do it from here in Australia, can't we, Daniel? We don't have to be flying people all over the world.
Absolutely.
Or anything.
No, but look, we worked with Microsoft on the Age of Empires 2 remaster that had head office in Seattle, artwork made in China, levels built and units created out of Germany, and we did all the coding, and testing was done somewhere else as well. So, you know, code development is very real. It was even before COVID. This was happening, and obviously during COVID, we've all learned to kind of refine our processes. So. And you know, I can relate to what it's like to be a studio trying to do something to the best you can, but lacking funding. You know, money makes the world go round. It, you know, and teams like that can do a lot with a few dollars. So I'm looking forward to working with the team and helping them make Reven the best it can be.
Oh, great!
Somebody has just said, a very generic question, but what's the plan for the next few months? So basically, our immediate plans have been update the contract, get that all sorted out, which it has been. We've acquired Reven. We're waiting for that transaction to conclude over the next few weeks, and then we'll be able to move on with that. And otherwise, we are just putting our feelers out, trying to get more games, see other things that we can get.
Yeah, I think we've been through a bit of a rough patch this last week. We've had, obviously, with our original contracts, having whatever that glitch was that no one could find, that we hired some of the top programmers in the world to find it, and no one could find anything. So whatever it was, it's not there now, and we've removed the part that we thought it might be in. And they've been launched yesterday, and everything is working perfectly. So that is just a huge sigh of relief, and definitely a huge accolade to the dev team.
Yeah, hardworking teams, you know, that's kind of part of it, especially for programmers and passionate game developers. You work hard, you play hard, and you go to rest. That's kind of the cycle.
So this is a question for Dan. What is his projection of play-to-earn model of gaming based on his experience? Where does he see this going? And then there's a second part of the question, but I'll ask that later.
Sure. Look, like I said, it's a brave new world. I think, you know, I think back to the early days of auction houses, and, you know, the things that people have tried, and to, you know, having your account hacked and losing all your items and things like that. So I think the first step is about just having a robust mechanism for you to legitimately own your items and your credits, and then legitimately being able to trade them. Then I think each game will be able to build out on that in a way that suits the game specifically. You know, you can just see the way it fits. You know, in a first-person shooter, it'll be that gun that you buy, that you upgrade. It'll be that scope that you upgrade, that all of a sudden will become more and more valuable. Yeah. You know, they'll be limited probably by the number. Some will be consumable, some will be, you know, limited, and you know, you can just kind of, it's a natural progression, I think, from in-game items in your inventory. Some games allow you to trade them with friends in, you know, RPGs and so forth, but imagine just owning them for real. I think that's just the thing. Owning them and trading them is only going to make games better, as far as I'm concerned.
And we need to sorry, go on, Sam.
Sorry, you go. Oh.
Well, we need to say here that Playable Games has a policy. We are not going to be creating pay to win games. So there will be some games we do, if we're doing a farming game or something like that, where you'll be able to earn more by owning an NFT, but that's a very different, that is a pay to earn game. But then we're not even building them to start with. That's not where our passion is. We actually want to build traditional games that you would play for free, but we will not make pay to win mechanics in it. So nothing we're adding to the game through crypto will change the outcome of the game where you win because you've got a $26,000 NFT and someone else doesn't. Where the challenge will come later, and we're going to be hiring some very smart people to work on with the developers on this, will be the next generation of crypto games, which will be, how do we balance that terrible imbalance that's in traditional games at the moment, where the guy who can play all day, every day, and lives on the dole and just smokes marijuana and plays 18 hours a day and is happy living on nothing, he's got the best gear, the best mounts, the best team around him. He never loses. Every time he walks anywhere near you, you're dead. And me as a worker who goes to work each day, I come home and just want to play casually, I can't get anywhere near him. So how do we balance that where I can spend a bit of my money that I've earned to just cut a bit of the grind out? That will be a really interesting thing to play with in the future. We're not doing that straight away because it's very difficult, but we're certainly looking at that for the future. Is there a balance we can get? It won't be pay to win, but it might be pay to get rid of some grind. And yet someone who doesn't have any money can exchange time to get the same result.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add on with the NFTs. Basically think if, for example, when you played League of Legends, every skin that you bought just became an NFT that you owned and you could sell later, or you could give to someone else. Like I know I have a lot of skins I would like to get rid of that I just don't want.
Yeah.
Like I don't play this character. I don't want them. I want to get rid of them, but I can't. Or if I stop playing the game altogether, I can just sell them or give them to a friend or etc.
Oh, but there's also skins in League of Legends that were rare. Like there was a Singe skin that I've always wanted and I can't get now. But if that was tradable on OpenSea, like if I could go and buy that on OpenSea, I would spend several $1,000s buying that because it's an absolutely cracking skin and almost no one's got it. It's rare as hen's teeth. But I would pay lots of money for it just to have it because it's a great skin. So that's the beauty of NFTs, is that it doesn't affect the game in any way, shape or form. It's just a skin, but it looks fantastic and I want it.
Yeah, exactly. The second part of that question does say, what about the big boys? Will they enter the space? And if they do, how would we fare? Oh, I think they're meaning like big games. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's right. The big publishers and the big games. That's right. I think it's fine. I don't really see a problem with the big companies entering the space. In fact, I think that will only legitimize the market and legitimize what we're doing here, really. So, and it's not really going to be a competition. I think it's just games will be enhanced with this technology. The big games, the independent games, and the ones in between, and the great games that Playable is going to bring to players as well, all included. I don't see a problem. I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
Well, that's definitely true. And like there's all this talk at the moment about the American government banning or trying to basically get control of crypto. And there's a negative side to that, but there's also a really positive side. The fact that they've moved past, it's going to go away, it's a waste of time, it's terrible, no one's ever going to be involved in it, to now they think they have to regulate it because it's not going away. It is growing. It is actually solving problems around the world, and the government wants to be involved. So that's actually a really positive thing for the space. So if if like Steam changed its direction and said they want to incorporate crypto, that's going to be a really good thing for the space. Epic Games has already said they're going to, so that's really good. So I'm really excited about where we're headed.
Yeah, that's right. No, look, this is a really just a value add onto the games that you've been playing. It just means that you know, your items and all that time you've sunk into the game is actually worth something for real now. That's the difference. So you know, who doesn't want to be rewarded for the time they've put in?
Exactly. Are we going to be able to rent out our NFTs once the pay to earn goes live?
Okay,
So instead of selling them,
I can answer that. So yes, we're definitely going to have a rental system involved. So basically the model is a very good one, and that is that if you actually earn / find a very rare NFT, there's two options that at the moment, the only option that really exists in the world is to sell it. But what's coming is the ability to rent it. So you actually hang on to it and you allow people to actually pay you to rent it for a week. So if it's a particularly nice costume, or it might be a special sword that, you know, is extremely rare and people really like, then rather than sell it, you might actually make it into an asset that you actually put up on the market as a renter. And so some people will rent it for a short time, other people will try and rent it for a longer time. And you can imagine that if we can actually get several of these items going, where you collect 4 or 5 of them, you can actually make a good passive income just out of things that you're renting out to other players that want to use them. And there might be things like World of Warcraft has, you can buy an accelerator to move through the grinding quicker. So that might be a sword NFT that you can be wearing. And while you're wearing that sword, you're actually moving faster through the grinding element. So that doesn't change gameplay too much. And again, that's coming into that balance I was talking about before about, you know, the guy who works versus the guy that doesn't have to work. So yeah, I think renting is going to be a huge part of the future, and Playable Games is definitely looking at it in a big way.
what's your personal and professional reason to join Playable Games, Daniel? And what may be the topmost priority for you as you assume your role here? I'm pretty sure you've almost,
That's a good question. Like I said, I've always loved new technology. I've always loved, you know, the new consoles that come out, and I always love seeing what PC hardware can do and what new tech can do. I see this as exciting technology, basically. You know, there's no doubt about the momentum that it's gathering around the world. You know, this is happening, so I want to be part of this new technology. I think Playable Games is off to a great start with what they're doing. I like the independent attitude. I like the grassroots approach. That's something that, you know, I've done with the studios I've worked in as well. It's kind of been you know, mates getting together, friends and families and mates making real things happen. So that's kind of part of what's attracted me to Playable, and I think I can make a big difference. You know, I know games. I know what makes a good game. I know what makes a good development team. I know what's sustainable. I know what isn't, and so I think I can really just help with acquiring excellent games and making sure that they're fun to play and sustainable over time.
Terrific. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, exactly. So there is another question as well that just came in. How is the team doing personally? And they love our Australian accents.
G'day, mate. Yeah. Throw another shrimp on the barbie, mate. Yes.
Don't hold that against us.
Don't hold that against us. That's correct.
Yeah.
Well, like, I mean, the dev team on the programming side running our contracts, they've definitely had a hard week, and we've not just relaunched the contracts, but we've had to have them all checked by Certec, and that's been a really big issue, and it's definitely drained them. And so they've basically been told to go and get some rest and take some days, and we've got devs still working, but the team's rotating now to get time off. The rest of us, I mean, we're a family business, so there's 4 of us in the family that are involved on a day-to-day basis, and we're working just normally. We don't work particularly hard, and we actually love what we do, so that's pretty easy. And then we've got a wider group underneath us that are just working as per usual. We've got a great mod team, and the way we've handled the Discord and our community, I think has been testament to what our actual attitudes are of where we want to go. We want to be transparent. We want to be open. The world is filled with liars and cheats and people that want to deceive and pull the wool over your eyes. That's not the business I want to be involved in. That's not what we want to build. We want to give the best possible things we can give. And to do that, you need really good people. And so that's my policy. It's a very simple policy. Hire the best people you can hire. The reason that we were, first of all, introduced to Daniel, but more importantly, pursued him, was because he's the sort of person we want to have on our team. It's as simple as that. So I want expertise. I want winners, and Daniel's a winner. And I want people that can get shit done. And Daniel's the sort of guy that's got shit done. I don't want someone that's all fucking talk and no action. I want someone who can put a resume down on the floor and say, well, you fucking read through that, pal, and then see if you want to talk to me. And when I got introduced to Dan, like when I was told you need to talk to this guy, that was my question. Well, what's he done? And boy, was I able to shut up while that guy talked for about 15 minutes. So, that was like, okay, I want to talk to that guy. That's the person we want on our team.
And it goes the other way. I think part of Wicked Witch's values were, very, very strong in that way: honesty, integrity, accountability, and passion. And that's what I see in the playable folk as well. Wicked Witch. My brother was the accountant at Wicked Witch. My wife took over. My daughters have worked and still work there, actually. So I understand that kind of family-oriented side of a business when you're passionate and when you love what you do. So to answer the question, like I'm doing great. Wicked Witch is doing great under its new owners, and it's allowed me to become involved in projects like this, which I'm pretty excited about.
Wow, that's great.
And one other question, which I thought just a personal part. What's your favourite genre?
Look, I probably have to say that I'm an RPG fan. If you at the end of the day, I loved all those early dungeon crawlers, everything from NetHack through to Dungeon Master and Eye of the Beholder, Ultima and the Ultima series, and Ultima Online was one of the first MMOs, and I played that with my brothers for many, many years. World of Warcraft, when it came out, I thought it was one of the best games I ever played in my life.
Changed my life, that game.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Same here. It's just. I mean, everything that Blizzard did was kind of awesome. I was a big Warcraft fan. I do love RTSs as well, but fantasy. I was a Tolkien fan. I love The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings way before it was cool. So I think that's where my heart lies. Having said that, I'm happy to play a bit of Texas Hold'em poker. I still go back and play Frogger and Galaga and things like that back in the day.
Wow, arcade games, man.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah, but if it was Golden Axe or something with something that had a gauntlet, like something that had a wizard and a barbarian in it, then you got my attention there.
Yeah, well, let's just finish up. Thanks so much for coming. Thanks for your time, Daniel. I appreciate it. Samuel, questionable, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
And Michael, thank you for your time.
Nice to catch up, Daniel, and everyone else. Talk again soon.
No worries, Michael.
And we'll catch you all soon. Cheers, everyone.
All right. Thanks for listening. Great to talk to you again. Talk soon.
Thank you.